Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, today is the last Friday of the month, which means it's time to debut a brand new show on the Chef AJ Broadcasting Network. It's called Breakfast, Lunch, and Thinner, and it's with the plant-powered pianist. You have to say that very carefully, none other than Dr. Gustavo Tolosa. We're going to have a combination of recipes and music and more. Please welcome him to the show. It's so nice to see you all the way from Argentina.
Yes, thank you. It's amazing. I'm always amazed at the magic of technology. I'm so many thousands of miles away, and it feels like I'm right there next to you. But
It's so cool because I have a show from Argentina, a show from India, a show from Australia. So this is fantastic. I'm so glad
I
you
know.
applied to have a regular show. So tell us what you've been up to, Gustavo.
Well, I've been up to traveling now that there's more travel. As you know, I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm a medical doctor because I'm not, but I am a doctor in music, so in piano performance. So I travel doing concerts and lectures and things like that, and that's one of my passions. And the other passion is, of course, the healthy eating, the whole food, plant-based SOS nutrition, and so I'm always doing something with that. I love to cook, and I've learned from the best, from you, Chef AJ, from our early days. Do you remember our early days of webinars
Oh
when
my God, I'll
you,
never forget you. I met you at the McDougall Advanced Study Weekend when I gave my talk from fat vegan to skinny bitch. Was that 2015? I think it was.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
visited me in Los Angeles, and you were just sitting at my dining room table, and because you were the amazing webinar
yes.
coordinator and host for Dr. McDougall. You guys must have done what, like 100 webinars or something?
Oh, at least several years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember you were sitting there, you go, you want to do a webinar. And I thought, like, this will be fun someday. And I'm like, sure. And you go, no, right now. And that was just so funny that we did that. And it was so much fun. We did so many what wonderful. We should probably bring them back at some point and either maybe bundle them or oh, that's not a
Yeah,
bad idea.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
yeah, I'll talk to you.
yeah,
But
yeah,
or even if we release them for free, who cares?
yeah,
People want the
of
content,
course.
but we need to get that stuff out there for sure. I mean, most of my people would probably know you, but in case they don't, Jennifer saying, I love listening to Dr. Gustavo play the piano during COVID. I appreciated that offering. But let's say this is their first video, first exposure to you. Where did it start? Like, because you used to be kind of heavy.
Right. I used to be 70 some pounds heavier, and to the point where it was difficult for me to perform the piano because my stomach would get in the way. And sometimes, when you play difficult pieces, you have to cross your arms over and things like that. And it was uncomfortable. And if I played very demanding music, I would get out of breath, and then I was not feeling well, carrying so much extra weight, and that, like everybody else that deals with obesity or extra weight, we try so many diets and none of them work. So there was that blessed day that I walked by a movie theater and they were playing this movie. You know, AJ, because we've gone to the movies, that you are great. You love movies. I could live inside a movie theater. And so I saw this movie that they were playing and it sounded strange, but I love to go to the movies. So I walked in and I saw Forks Over Knives. And I almost cried, or maybe I did, because I felt like I had found the answer that I was looking for years. But the problem was that I didn't know what to do because I saw all these doctors there and I didn't know how to get in touch. Anyway, there was a time when I was trying to find somebody and I found Dr. McDougall. Somehow in my search on the internet, I found his 10-day living program in Santa Rosa, and I went. And when I left that, I felt the most empowered that I had ever felt in my life, knowing what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I mean, I knew it. I knew how to do this thing, and I started losing weight like crazy. and I love to cook. And so I cook recipes after recipes, hundreds of them. And well, the rest is history. Then I met you. I met so many people. I interviewed just about every plant-based doctor and chef, and I learned so much. And so at one point, like you mentioned, I was the official Dr. McDougall webinar producer and host, and that was so much fun every week to do a webinar with Dr. McDougall live.
How did you get that job? I mean, what a wonderful job. I mean, well, wonderful in one way, but maybe stressful in another.
Yeah, both. Yes, mostly wonderful. As it became bigger and bigger and more important, there was stress. There was, because sometimes I would be across the world. I remember being in Italy one time, and I was running all over the place trying to find a place with internet so that I could do this weekly webinar with Dr. McDougall, and it was stressful. So, but it wasn't stressful because of him. And well, that came about in a very strange way. I was starting to be interested in doing webinars, and so one day I just wrote an email to Dr. McDougall, and I said, Dr. McDougall, would you be willing to do a very small webinar for a group of people in France? A group of people from France had contacted me about the Starch Solution. So actually, our first webinar was in French, believe it or not. And
well, how did people understand him if it was in French?
Well, I had a translator. Yeah, I had someone. I know I know some French, but I had somebody who would translate. And so that was our first ever webinar that is not there for public, on the internet. And then my second webinar with him was in Spanish, and I was translating. So our first two webinars were in other languages, and then we started doing webinars in English for a small group of people, and he started liking it because at that time in his life, he was tired of traveling, and he thought that this idea of reaching people across the globe was really awesome. And so he was very happy to do the webinars, and little by little, he started announcing it to more and more people, and eventually he announced it to his whole list of people in the program. And that's how it started. That really is how it started. And every time I logged in and I saw him in front of me, I felt really lucky that I had somehow stumbled upon this opportunity. And we got along so well, and he enjoyed doing this with me, and I, of course, did with him. I learned tons. But yeah, that's how it was.
Now, do any of the webinars stand out in your mind? Like you're my 1,336 show. And so people always ask me, what's your favorite? And, I don't like to show favoritism, but a few stand out in my mind, usually when things go either really wrong or really right. But do any of them stick out? Like, I mean, because I remember the one with Dr. Furman really well, like, because everybody expected it to be contentious, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. So, all the webinars that we did with him and other doctors were amazing, but really the two of them who stand out were the ones that we did at his house, because I knew that very few people, even some of his closest people, hadn't been at his home in Santa Rosa. So when he invited me to go to his home and do two webinars there with him,
you got to see his house. Did he have any pets? What was it like? Was it neat? Was it messy? Did you get a snack? You got to talk. You got to spill the beans. You got to spill the beans.
Well, that has a price, you guys. You have to pay for that.
Oh, that must have been so fun.
No, it was a beautiful, that's the house that burned down. So, but it was a beautiful home in a beautiful part of Santa Rosa, and it was big, and it was tidy and very comfortable. And he took me to his yard, to his garden. There was his cat there, and he has some veggies growing, and I saw a little bit of bread in the kitchen, but all all in all, it was just a wonderful time. So we did 2 webinars there at his home, and then we did a couple in Hawaii when I went on the trip. So those just stand out because I could see Dr. McDougall more as a relaxed person when he was at home, and I think people saw that too, and not the Dr. McDougall that is giving a lecture. So it was very nice. Those are on the internet for people to see them.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for the nice comment, Jennifer. My earrings, I got them at Target actually with a gift card from my sister-in-law, but thank you. And the skin, man, I'm telling you the secret of skin. Stay out of the sun. I mean, if you look at, I'm sorry that I'm answering your question to me, but when I used to live in Los Angeles, my skin was not this quality because I didn't wear sunscreen and I didn't stay out of the sun. And moving to the desert was a blessing because I was forced to not have my skin in the sun, and it really did, like on a cellular level, just improve. So what can I say? I learned that from Victoria Moran too late. She said one of the reasons. Anyway, but you don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. So what do you do now? Do you still teach piano at all, or is that not a thing you're doing?
No, I am taking a long break from teaching. Mostly what I'm doing is I perform, which is what I really love to do. And I perform alone and with other musicians, but I really have gotten so into helping people get on track on this whole food plant-based diet, SOS free, and staying on by simplifying things. So basically, one day I decided all during these 10 years, I've seen so many people get discouraged and give up because they think in their minds that they have to be chasing complicated recipes all the time and becoming chefs. And there's, that's not true. And number two, they don't have to spend a lot of money. And I see the comment of, oh, being vegan and whole food is so expensive. Well, if you go buy the junk food vegan that is processed, yeah, it's expensive. So I have been running programs online where people log in 3 times a day with me for a week. And I just show them how I make simple meals, no recipes, just meal ideas and what I do. And I share strategies, and I've been having so much fun. I did it one time thinking that I was going to do it just one time to show people how I do this. And now it's going to be the 5th time because it's been so good. For people like it, and of course I like it. I get to meet all these people that I have been emailing for 10 years. Now I can see their faces and hear their voices, and so that's a big part of what I'm doing now. And I continue to cook and make up new recipes or meal ideas and combine music with food. What else can you ask for?
Nice. I love it. If you guys have any questions for Gustavo, you can put them in the chat, but you're going to do a cooking demonstration for us today.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is during these shows that I'm going to do monthly with you is I'm going to share these simple meal ideas. Some of them are the ones that I do in my 7-day program, and other ones are just going to be new. And then play a little bit of piano for you, and hopefully you will end up with quite a few meal ideas that you can rotate and that you can put together in no time and not spend a lot of money. And that's going to be it. So I can tell you a little bit more about my 3 basic breakfasts and my 3 basic snacks, and then my 5 or 6 basic lunches and dinners. But maybe we should just watch these 2 meals that I wanted to show everyone. I'm just going to say a word about each. One of them is my hash browns, because I love hash browns, but I like to combine them with greens and with other vegetables. And so you can make this. I make it my own, with my own two hands, but you can buy frozen hash browns and do the same thing that I'm doing. You can actually make it simpler than what I show you. And then one day I was practicing Chopin, one of my favorite romantic composers, and I was practicing for a concert, and all of a sudden an idea came for a soup because it was about dinner time and I was getting hungry. So I went to the kitchen, I saw what I had. I started chopping some vegetables. And so I call it chopping with Chopin soup. And, and believe it or not, a person told me that they went to the grocery store and they asked for Chopin vegetables. They thought that it was a vegetable.
That's hilarious.
That was funny. I said, no, it's not. It's just that Chopin is a composer and that I named it after him. So that's why it's called like that, because I was practicing Chopin. And so when you see me prepare this soup, you're going to see me play the waltz that I was playing that day while I was making soup. So if you want to show the video, we can.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let me pull this up.
Yes.
Share.
And then, yes, we can have questions, Q&As after this.
Okay, tell me if you can see this, Gustavo. Can you see this?
I can.
Perfect. Yes, here we go, guys. Enjoy the cooking and the music.
I'm going to show you how I make an easy breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever you want. I'm going to start by heating the skillet on high, and I have 2 onions. They can be white or yellow. I guess, I don't know if you could use purple, but purple onions, I usually save them for salad, maybe fajita mix, I don't know. But if all I had was purple onions, I would use purple onions. Okay, so I'm just cutting the onion in half and then slicing it. Turning the skillet. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, I had jalapenos, so I'm going to chop half of one. I don't have gloves. I should use gloves because after you chop a jalapeno, don't even get your hands close to your face. You can skip this. The only reason I'm using it is because it was in the refrigerator for a while and I don't want it to go bad. The potatoes I'm going to cut in small pieces, you see, like this. And because I need them to cook fast and I want them to absorb the flavor of the onion and the pepper. So I'm going to add it right now as soon as possible. I could have had all of this already cut and chopped, but I wanted you to see that this is how things happen. Okay, in Gustavo's life. Okay, so one. So let's break up the onion. This is, like I have mentioned in other videos, it is so important that you get an absolutely superb non-stick pan. Now is when you could add some spices, and this is really so personal. Since I didn't put garlic in there, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder just by side, okay? You really, for this kind of meals, you don't need recipes. You don't need for me to tell you a fourth of a teaspoon or things like that. Just a little. I'm going to put some smoked paprika, which I love, and I just kind of cover it at the top. Okay, I don't know. That's probably a teaspoon, and you could add. I'll just go crazy today. I'll add a little bit of cumin, very little. I will add oregano, which I love. I like fresh oregano, but since I don't have any now, this is probably a teaspoon right here. Oh, maybe a little less. I'll put more. That's probably a teaspoon. And I would add pepper or something, but since I put that jalapeno, that's gonna give it some heat. With these spices, like if you have Benson's Table Tasty, that would be great here, but I don't have it right now. Or Mrs. Dash spice mix. That it's so good that you don't need to add salt. I am going to add a little water. But that it gets that wonderful sugar that the onions are releasing, you know, off the bottom of the pan, and it mixes it. So basically I'm making hash browns. It's another version of hash browns. And I'm going to cover it. And now I will lower it to like medium high or medium. In this kitchen is number 6. And in the meantime, I'll get my kale here. About 5 minutes have passed. 5 or 6 minutes. If I had fresh mushrooms, I would have added 2 cups or so. It's browning. It's really not thickening, it's just browning. But I'm going to add a little more water. It's usually like 2 tablespoons, sometimes more, just enough to deflace the pan. Never add too much. You can always add it and take away. You don't want it boiled. So the water is just to get this wonderful brownness here from the bottom of the pan. Okay. Ooh, yum. This is looking just great. So we will add kale, but it could be spinach, it could be Swiss chard, it could be Brussels sprouts, it could be broccoli, some kind of green for our cardiovascular health so that our arteries will heal. And if they're healed, then so that they will stay in good shape. Flexible, clean. So how much? Well, the kale will reduce to almost nothing. So put a lot, probably 3 cups. What I do is I just make sure that it's all covered. Oh, here's a stem, a thick stem. It's all covered here. Here's another thick stem. You can cook the stems separately, But here I needed to cook kind of fast. So you can see how I'm covering it. It's chopped in kind of big chunks. I want to make sure that every single spot is covered. And like I said, it looks like a lot, but you'll see how it's not that much. So now mix it. After it's mixed, we will add a little bit of water. I can't think of a healthier combination. We have starch, the onions, the spices, the greens. And I made it with what I had in the refrigerator. And while I'm making this, I'm putting away dishes and maybe answering an email to just use the time to do other things, you know. If you have cooked beans in your refrigerator or freezer, which you always have, you can then add more volume to this by adding beans when you're about to eat it. And you get another meal out of it. Okay, so I'm going to check and see how soft the potatoes are. Okay, let's see. Yep, it's done. I'm going to uncover it so that it will start to get a little drier. I really don't want a lot of liquid there. And I don't want it to be like soup, or I want it to be hash browns with greens. And look at that. It's kind of like you can barely see the greens now. I could have added more, but that was okay. That's about, that's more than a serving of greens for the morning, like Dr. Esselstyn recommends. So just another minute or two for the liquid to evaporate. And that's going to be breakfast, or I'm going to show you how I make an easy breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever you want. I'm going to start by heating the skillet on high, and I have 2 onions. They can be white or yellow. I don't know if you could use purple, but purple onions, I usually save them for salads, maybe fajita cakes, I don't know. But if all I had was purple onions, I would use purple onions. Okay, so I'm just cutting the onion in half and then slicing it. So this is going in the skillet. Wait a minute. Okay. I had a jalapeno, so I'm going to chop half of one. I don't have gloves. I should use gloves because, you know, after you chop a jalapeno, don't even get your hands close to your face. You can skip this. The only reason I'm using it is because it was in the refrigerator for a while and I don't want it to go bad. The potatoes I'm going to cut in small pieces, you see, like this. And because I need them to cook fast, and I want them to absorb the flavor of the onion and the pepper. So I'm going to add it right now, as soon as possible. I could have had all of this already cut and chopped, but I wanted you to see that this is how things happen. Okay, in Gustavo's life. Okay, so one. So let's break up the onion. This is, like I have mentioned in other videos, it's so important that you get an absolutely superb non-stick pan. Now is when you could add some spices, and this is really so personal.
Oh,
Since I didn't put garlic in there, I'm going to.
oh, wait a minute. Wait a
a
minute.
little.
This is, are you still there, Gustavo?
Yes, I am here.
Oh my God. You know what? I just kept watching. It's hilarious. Well, it was good. But you know what's funny is you took yourself off screen. I kept trying to do that. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want me to share my screen and show the next recipe?
Oh no, we showed them both, didn't we?
Oh,
Where
I
were
don't think.
you know, if it wasn't for our wonderful moderator Susanna sending me a text, I mean, it could have been just like a loop watching it over and over. That's
Well,
funny.
I don't think it showed the soup. But
Guys, did it show the soup? Somebody, it only showed the first one. How is that possible? Well,
yeah,
that's why doing a video might be problematic, but let me see. It only showed the soup.
you probably, if you just click, I don't know, the middle of the video, it'll
Right, hold on,
start.
let's see if I can do this again. Sorry, guys, this is why, you know, maybe one day you'll do it live. Let me try again and tell me how you take yourself off screen. So we need the next recipe. The soup hasn't showed. Okay.
Okay.
So there we go.
All right.
See what we can do. All right.
Maybe you can,
soup.
yeah.
So this was the hash brown.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, guys. The greens in the hash browns.
Right.
All right. There we go.
Okay,
right.
there you go.
There we go. Sorry, guys.
I'm not good. I hope you'll try it.
So let's get to the soup, this Chopin soup that I made. I made it up one day while I was practicing some Chopin music for a concert. And I was playing this wonderful waltz, and this soup just came up, you know, and so I want you to try it. It's delicious, it's easy. So this is called the Grand Valse Brillante. So the great or the grand brilliant waltz is one of Chopin's most difficult and most fun, upbeat waltzes. And so I just find it interesting how there are connections between music and cooking. For example, well, at one point there are repeated notes. So they go like this, you see? The same motion that we use to chop vegetables, for example, like I was chopping for the soup with a nice loose wrist, is the same for piano. So just have fun listening to that because it's a really interesting part of the music. So let's listen to this great Chopin waltz. And as you listen, I'm going to be showing you how to make this soup. And then I hope that you'll make it and let me know how you like it. I made it for the 7-day program that I do online, and everybody was so excited about how wonderful this soup tasted. So here we go. Chopin, chopping with Chopin
All right. So we got the whole thing now, right? Right, Gustavo?
We got the whole thing. Yes, yes. I
Now,
hope that people were. I hope that people were able to see the ingredients that I was putting. I think it showed, but I'm
you know
not
what
sure.
we have to ask the live viewers if they were able to hear the music because I will test this on the replay. But Gustavo, when we had Billy on, he made a song live, and there's a thing with Zoom, like you probably know this, like if you're using a blender, Zoom will mute it, and so
Yes.
we'll have to watch the replay to see if the music was muted. Because if it is, then you'll probably have to do the piano part live. But I think okay.
I think it showed. I think it because somebody else was watching and they sent me a message saying that they could hear it.
Perfect. That's all we care about. And somebody's asking for the recipe, but I think the whole point was that you didn't want to have to give people written recipes, right?
Well, we can do. I mean, I can give them the ingredients. It's just basically open your Instant Pot and throw everything in there, and that's it. It is very simple ingredients that I had in the refrigerator. But we could put it in the description area if you want me to send you, AJ. I don't know if you want to do that
I mean, I'm
later
happy
on.
to. You have 5,000 characters, not words, characters to your disposal.
Yeah.
Happy to do that if you like.
That's
Yeah,
really
beautiful
okay.
music. It was lovely. People were saying, "Oh, so Darlene's saying yes, you could hear it." And Susanna said it was only muted the very first few notes at the beginning. You have to teach me how you got yourself off screen because I was poking around trying to get my picture. It was just little, but I would love to know how to do that.
Yes. Oh, I just click on the camera at the bottom of the screen,
Yeah,
and
I think what happened is I didn't click it before I screen shared, so I couldn't get back in it. But we'll
I
do
see.
that. Well, you could hear me, enjoying it. So perfect.
Yeah. Yes.
Very
Well, good. So I have, for example, I have one of these meals that I call the Gustavo's Potato Supreme that I'm going to share next time. That it's just one of the easiest and most delicious kind of a casserole thing with potatoes and onions and garlic. And so I'm going to share that next time. And another thing that I love is the lime cilantro rice, like the ones you get at Chipotle's. And I make a burrito bowl with that it's so simple to put together. And people have told me that they can eat that every day. So I'm going to show that one next time. So I just want people to know that I'm going to be sharing some really good meals. My mashed potatoes that is mixed with butternut squash for the creaminess and the little extra sweetness is also delicious. So those are all my easy meal ideas that I plan to show everyone. I don't know if people. Oh, AJ, I wanted to also mention that very few details, but that there is a bundle coming up. Is that okay if I mention that there is a bundle?
Okay, yes, we're allowed to say what it's called and what your contribution is.
This is just a little announcement that I am included in this bundle where I have a PDF with some of my best recipes with beautiful pictures and just the ingredients and the 2 or 3 lines of how to make them. But the thing is that there are so many others that I think people are going to enjoy because it's not just food. Some of them are other types of programs, and that's going to be released next Friday. So
yep,
I just want people
to be I know it's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be very exciting. You did this last year, I think.
Yeah, it was epic, and so many of the plant-based doctors joined. We have even more people this year.
Well, it's coming again. It's coming back. So
operators are standing by. Do you guys have any questions for Gustavo about music, about weight loss, about any of the recipes he demonstrated? If so,
if while they ask questions there, I like to ask people that if they want to be in my email list to just go to my website and click on be included in the list. And I'd love to. I don't send out a lot of emails at all, so you won't get flooded by emails, but you can be in my list if you like.
Well, we have that in the show notes right below. If you can tell us, you lost 70 pounds. How long ago was that? And how long did it take you to do it? And how easy or hard was it to keep it off?
Well, you know that for men, it is easier to lose weight than, unfortunately, for like Dr. Goldhammer says that, women have a harder time because of the hormones that we all, testosterone and etc. But so for me, it was pretty easy. It took 6 months to lose 40 or close to 50 pounds. And then the last 20 or so were a little harder, of course. And that's when, because I started with the starch solution, which allows pasta and some bread. And so eventually I started to modify my way of eating and gave up some of the other foods, and I lost more. And it's been you all know how wonderful our food is and it tastes. So it's not hard to stay on and to keep it off. But definitely took less than a year. It took like 10 months or so.
Well, that's amazing. It took me a lot longer, but you're right. It's so unfair that men can do this so much more quickly.
Yeah. Oh well, but it was, and I really did not exercise. It was all just the food, like Dr. McDougall said. It's the food, and
You exercise now?
I walk. I like to walk because I live in this beautiful mountain town, and so it's so nice to walk outside in the fresh, crisp air and look at the scenery. So I love to walk. I walk fast. I walk uphill, downhill, and so that's my main form of exercise. Yes.
Nice. I love
Yes.
It's summer where you are, though, isn't it?
It is summer, because being up in the mountains, it's not as hot as being in a big city with all the cement and buildings and stuff. But it is, we're in the opposite season.
Jennifer says, bravo for both the soup and the music.
Well, make sure you all try that soup. I know it looks very simple and it may look like it's bland, but it's not. It's one of the best soups that I have made and tasted. So I love to hear from people what they think, because it's a very good soup and it has the perfect combination of starch and non-starchy vegetables.
Do you batch cook, Gustavo?
No, I don't. What I do and what I tell people is that always cook whenever you're making something, double it to what you think you're going to need, double it. So I always double or triple what I'm making, so that in my refrigerator, I always have food available, because we all know the feeling of not having something when you're hungry. So I always make more, and that's how every now and then I may spend half a Saturday cooking beans and rice and things that I can freeze, but I don't do that regularly.
Okay.
And one thing that I've been doing lately, thanks to Dr. Goldhammer, that I've been interviewing, is he says that it's totally safe to do a 14 to 16 hour fast every single day, because you stop eating at 6 p.m., maybe 7, okay, somewhere in there. And then, if you stop eating at 6, 12 hours is 6 a.m. the next day. I'm never hungry at 6 a.m. the next day. So you delay your breakfast like at 9, by 9, 10 a.m. and there you have your 14-hour fast, and it really helps. And if you can get in a little bit of exercise before your first bite, then you're burning fat most likely. And so it really helps for those people that feel like they're in a plateau or something and they need to lose weight to do that. So
I don't know if you saw the show yesterday, but I interviewed a nearly 100-year-old physician who said the same thing about not eating for long periods. He personally does breakfast and lunch, but like he said, he has his breakfast. He gets up about 4, he has his breakfast at 6:30, his lunch at 12:30, and then he doesn't eat anymore. Are you frozen? Uh-oh. Is he frozen for just me, or is he frozen for you? What is going on? because I still have some questions. I will text him. But I don't know if he's frozen for you or for me. Technology. Gotta love it. Okay. Because the questions you guys asked were musical and I can't answer them. All right. Just seeing you. Thank you for saying that. So he's gone. Okay. He's gone. Maybe he'll come back. I sure hope so, but this show is coming to you all the way from Argentina in the moments that I'm waiting for him to hopefully reconnect. If not, we can ask those musical questions. It's not showing up on YouTube anymore. What? I think I'm still on YouTube. I'm seeing myself. I'll know by going like this. Let's see if I see my arm doing that. Yep, I'm on YouTube. Okay, so I have a bonus show today at 2:00. And that is Dr. Lori Marvis. You may remember her from Plant-Based Telehealth, where you can get consults in every state of the United States virtually with a plant-based doctor. Well, she has a new company now that does something very similar, but they actually take insurance, and she'll be telling us about that and answering some of the medical questions that have been sent in. Always know when it's a doctor, you've got to send them in advance, please. And then tomorrow we have Dr. Micah Yu and Dr. Melissa Mandala, and they're going to be talking about long COVID recovery. Let's see if I can get him on the phone. He might not even know he's not frozen, or he is frozen. And Sunday, we have Kim Campbell, who has a new book out, and she's going to be making Thai tacos. So I wish I could answer your musical questions. Charles, Gustavo is not on anymore, and he doesn't seem to know that he's not on anymore. So and he's not answering text. I'm trying both his WhatsApp number. Give us a second. Give us a week and we'll take off the wait. Well, I'm not going to keep you guys forever. If you have any questions for me while we're trying to reconnect with him. Yes, it's great. Hopefully we'll find out, Jennifer, what kind of insurance and if she's licensed in every state. This is a new venture, so I don't know. All right, he is not answering. So the musical questions. Do I ever make soup for breakfast? Yes, actually, that recipe is in my new course. And yes, I do. I do, especially in the colder months. Not so much when I lived in the desert. I make an all veggie soup. All right. What is the nutritional difference between raw and cooked veggies? Probably raw has some more because cooking does, you lose some nutrients, but there are certain things that certain micronutrients become more bioavailable when cooked, like the carotenoids in the carrots and anything orange, the lutein in all the greens like spinach, and the lycopene in tomatoes actually become more bioavailable. So it's good to, I think, have a combination of raw and cooked. Yeah. Did it take a little longer for Gustavo to last the 10 pounds? That's a great question, Susanna. And I'll give him a couple more minutes, but if he doesn't come back by noon, I think I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I don't know whose program you mean that you can follow. Myrtle. Mine is in my book, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. I assume if you mean Gustavo, it's below in the show notes. And the two questions from two different Jennifers on stringed instruments, I would hope that you would come back and maybe even send them to us in advance so we make sure that we can get them answered. I don't understand, though, why he isn't responding to me unless you think he had some kind of emergency. For a while I was seeing him. Charles, should I just say goodbye to the nice people? I don't want to keep them forever. So, guys, at least we got the thing going on the recipe. And I'm so sorry for the technology problem. I hope you'll come back at 2 p.m. when my guest is Dr. Lori Marvis. And I think you'll enjoy it. Remember, you just have to subscribe to chefaj.com because every Sunday we send you the lineup and then you respond to that email with the question, who it's for, one question per email, and short ones. A lot of times people give their whole medical history. So thank you so much. And I hope to see you in a couple hours. If you like what you see, thumbs up and maybe even subscribe. Take care.